You're listening to the Medic Materials Podcast, hosted by Mike Turek, Emily Yates, Kelsey Coons, and Gerard Cuomo. Each month, we discuss EMS news, medical science, and review actual EMS calls, bringing many educational opportunities to the listener. Portions of the calls have been altered to protect the privacy and identity of all involved.
Hello and welcome everyone back to the Medic Materials Podcast. Mr. Piglet, Phil Foundation, in the house today. Let's drop Phil's intro. Can you actually hear the intro now with all the new equipment and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice. I am loving this new boom arm. I treated myself. Gave you the hand-me-down, Phil. Sorry.
Well, I didn't have any like older siblings to get hand-me-downs from, so it's like the same thing.
All right. Well, that doesn't make me feel that bad then. Mr. Maha, how are you, sir?
Oh, I've had better days, but doing pretty good.
I guess that's fair.
Got a few extra days off from work, but you know.
Hey, that's always a plus. I mean, you can't be too hard on yourself when you are on vacation, even if it's a forced vacation or whatever. So, it's weird that it's Tuesday.
Why are you stroking that mushroom?
I got a friend with me. See.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know, right? It's like, it's so weird because you can't see the puppy. It literally looks like you're stroking the mushroom shaft. You like, yep, just keep on doing it.
It's pleasurable to me.
Oh, gotta love it. So we're gonna be talking about we're going to have a discussion about a patient population that I think we have fairly neglected here on the show for a long time. And that is those with special challenges. So, you know, your MR patients, your, you know, weird LVAD patients, your super obese patients, right? Your difficult airway patients, or maybe they have an airway device at home and stuff like that. So I think bringing up this kind of discussion is going to be beneficial because we can kind of, throw ideas around about different ways that we should be evaluating these patients, or maybe treating these patients, or just, kind of dealing with these patients. So I think it's going to be an interesting discussion. Overall, I've been waiting to have this. I was hoping we could do like a call review for a special patient. That just didn't happen in the time frame, but I think this will also lend itself to some good information. So before we get started, I will do Kelsey's job since she's not here again today, and I will do our rig check. So guys, we have seen a record number of downloads of this podcast recently. And as we near a fucking miraculous 20,000 downloads of this show, I want to urge each of you to continue to spread the word about this show. It has been wonderful what you guys have been doing, sharing across social media. Keep it up. Tell your friends, your coworkers, put it on in your truck. Make your partner listen to it while you're on standby or going to a call. What better way to get ready for a cardiac arrest than to hear us? I think that would be hilarious. That should be like the new, Code 99 song, is just turning on us. Or if you, don't want to tell people about the show, go on to whatever listening platform you guys do use and rate and review the show. That is big. It's how we get ranked, how people can find us in search. If all of that is too much, work for you guys, and you want to get out of a little bit of work, become a Patreon. It's $5 a month. You get more podcasts, you get CME credit, and you get some crazy ass calls that are coming up. One including a GSW and another including a bear. We'll just leave it at that. A bear. It's going to be very exciting. So sign up for that. That link is down in the description below. But hey, if you're really allergic to work, guys, there is a donation link down in the down below. If you want to tip the stream or the show, you can use the stream donation link, or you can buy us a cup of coffee and send a cash donation that way. All of that helps to support the man bun that is the Phil Foundation.
Right. Maybe you get a freaking haircut.
That's right. We can buy him a new damn haircut. Our brand new Medic Materials merch page is up, so make sure that you're going on to medicmaterials.com/merch. You can buy the Cronuts, which you can see right there behind me. Stickers, water bottles. I just bought a bunch of shirts that now I'm going to start wearing those on the stream, so you can kind of see what we have. And lastly, shout outs this month to our listeners in Maine and Guatemala. Thank you all for continuing to listen to our fucking craziness, because that's all I can explain it as.
Do we have hoodies yet? Come on. I need a hoodie.
I have been looking into hoodies. The problem with the hoodies, all right, is not that they're expensive to make or of poor quality or whatever like that. It is that I love shirts that have front designs and back designs on them, and hoodies don't have that. They only have front design. And that just, like, I hate that. It makes me bitter. It makes me angry. So I'm still looking into hoodies. We do have, I think, some long sleeve options on there. Lots of stickers, lots of t-shirts. Stuff that I've been working with. There's a brand new Donuts one. A donut sticker. Guys, I don't even have any in stock yet. They are that new, and they're awesome.
My sticker package.
Huh?
I said I'm still waiting for my sticker package.
I sent some out. Chris is in the stream. He probably got his. WW2 Girl sent me pictures. She got hers. So yeah, I guess you're just gonna be on my next list of people I'll send stickers to. But
I guess you'll just like them more than you like me. That's fine.
well, yeah, it's the hair, man. It's there. But it's one thing. Okay, it's one thing, Phil, for me to like you. You got me tattooed on your arm. All right,
No.
so who likes who more here?
Right.
It's
All right.
No.
Don't.
Before people think I'm like some fucking psychopath,
But you are.
like the guy who shot John Lennon. It is not a tattoo of Mike Turek.
It sure as shit should be.
I could probably get the face like covered up a little bit to make it look like yours.
I'm very surprised, Chris, that you didn't get your sticker pack, because I mailed them like last week. You should have gotten them, especially since one made it to Maryland before like an hour and a half away. So that's, I mean, it's the government, it's mail. Why not? It shouldn't work.
Someone probably stole him from his front porch.
The porch pirates stole them. Yep, sorry. You can't have nice things anymore. So guys, leading
Detroit.
leading into this discussion here, I want to start just with, when you guys get a dispatch that might, involve a special, patient population, what do you guys like? What is the automatic thought process when you're like, oh man, I'm going to, a diff breather that might be on a vent at the house, or a, freaking MR patient or something like that? What do you guys kind of run through your head right off the rip?
I mean, they all have their own little special. I don't want to start off the conversation like that, but they have their own little special things you have to know about. I mean, a lot of them have the parents or their caregivers are a wealth of information. When you get there, you kind of you approach them and say, hey, what do I need to know about this patient? a lot of times. I know I've dealt with a few in certain areas that we've all worked before, that you go there and you can say, like, what medications they on, what medications have you given before I've gotten here, because a lot of times they try to solve the problems before they call you to get there, because they're so well versed in the care for the patient. So by the time they're calling you, then it's
It's typically more problematic
Yep.
than if they had called 3 hours earlier or a half hour earlier or something in that nature.
yeah. So at that point, you're dealing with a whole different slew of problems. I guess one that comes to mind is there's a family of, without giving too much away, a family of folks that have some seizure problems in an area that we've worked, that they do everything they can before they have to call us, but by the time they call us, they've gone through their diastats, stuff like that. If seizures haven't broken, then we're walking in, we're like, all right, so now we got to go down our path for seizures. And
Right. And it's almost, if you have been to one of these homes before, you know the process. You know that if it's a seizure kid, you know that mom's given the diastat or, whatever it might be that the kid is on. And you know that the drill is, okay, I gave 1 dose. They didn't stop. I gave 2 doses. Okay, now I'm on to my 3rd, and now I'm going to call, because it's been 25 minutes or a half an hour, and this kid's still, nothing has worked in the home remedy. So you kind of understand what you're walking into a little better. If they are frequent to you, you can go, okay, if I'm getting called, it's got to be starting at this point. I know this is where I'm starting. Phil,
Right.
what kind of runs through your head when going into these kind of calls?
Well, so most of the time with like people with like MR or anything like that, like Down syndrome, something like that, they have, each individual has their own certain like triggers that like send them, they might get like combative, they might, have like those pseudo seizures, stuff like that. Like loud noises might trigger one person, bright, like if the lights are too bright, it might trigger another person. So it's like you have to really, take into account everything, like that all the loud noises on the rig, shit like that. And you have to like actually think and like kind of like tread lightly.
Yeah, I think with that, it kind of lends itself, and we've gotten it in the chat already, is detailed histories, right? These are things that we can find out. And Butch, you already, put it out there that like the caregiver is the wealth of knowledge, right? So we need to take care, or not take care, but we need to take advantage of that caregiver, right? They know more about the condition, at least in the home setting, right? If it's a family member taking care of a daughter or a father or mother or whatever, it's a little bit more specific than it is if it was a home, like a group home or something like that, where here you go, it's just a worker bee and they don't really know anything. Here's their book, here's their, packet of paperwork, and so on and so forth. But with those, specifically those home caregivers, right? They know more about that condition, the treatment, the way we should be operating with this patient than we will ever know. So, finding out where they were and how they can help us, I think, is the best benefit that we have on scene, right? All of our protocols mean nothing if, that caregiver can suction way better than we can, or can operate the LVAD way better than we can, or operate the home vent way better than we can. There's been plenty of times where I walk into like a home vent situation and they're like, yeah, this is going on. I did this, I did that, and it's still not right. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to let you run that vent all the way to the hospital. That is your job. I'm not even going to look at you unless you need it. What do you guys kind of feel about like caregivers? What should we be asking them And like, is there anything specific that you kind of give leeway to with the caregivers?
I mean, honestly, you kind of said like nursing home versus special care facilities. I find a lot of time the special care facilities, like the group homes and stuff, those providers are a lot of times smaller populations. So those care providers know a lot more about those residents than they do at nursing homes. Nursing homes, you go there and it's the usual, not my patient, just got here, vacation, blah blah blah. The excuses. But if you go to the group homes, a lot of times those caregivers and providers know a lot about those patients. They can usually tell you everything. Feeding times, bathroom rotations, whatever. I find that to be more true about those places. So if they want to come with you to the hospital and take care, do certain things for that patient on the way to the hospital, keep that person comfortable, hop on board because that patient may be more comfortable with that provider in the back of my rig than they are with a guy they've never seen before.
Right. And depending on like what, right. And kind of depending on what their history is, right? So like you might get a patient that is MR and has those triggers and knows this person and can keep them calm, knows how to keep them calm, whereas we might set them off, right? So it's almost, beneficial to, hey, yep, I'm gonna leave care in your hands unless I have to do something. Right. Phil, what about you with caregivers in general?
So the agency I used to work for, we had a regular, I wouldn't say kid, but like a teenager, maybe 15 or 16, who was on a home ventilator through a trach collar. And I mean, I had gone through, the vent class and all that, but like the amount of knowledge and I guess you could say like troubleshooting that the patient's mother had with their home vent was just astronomically more than I could ever get from a basic ventilator class. So I think it's, if they step in to like do something or, tell you like, hey, just so you know, like you have to do this, then I don't take as much offense to it as like, someone's mother-in-law saying like, oh, well, I'm a nurse at a nursing home, you should do it this way. That shit pisses me off. But like when it's, a special population type of patient, then
yeah, I think, we have to give them a lot of leeway, right? They are there specifically to assist us in that sense, like going in, finding out history. Because a lot of times, like a lot of these special patients that have wild and crazy diseases, we have never heard of them before. I couldn't tell you how many countless times I have walked into a house for, something as simple as diff breather. I walk, around the corner and I see this giant hospital bed with somebody that's been in there since 1972. And their caregiver is like, okay, this is Johnny. And I'm like, cool. Hi, Johnny. And Johnny's drooling or whatever. And, I'm like, what kind of history do they have? I'm thinking, all these normal things. And they're rattling off some, disease that 3 people in the world have. And I'm like, what? And then they go into the, Britannica encyclopedia on this one disease because they've dealt with it for 20 years. So, it's a learning experience for us too, right? Like there's times where I have to Google stuff because I don't know what it is. Again,
you'll never have to Google Von Willebrands ever again.
Nope.
You're welcome.
No. And you know what? I'll tell you. So I took your advice and threw that out as the last Friday trivia. And I must say that people were right on top of it. I don't know if they just knew it because they're smarter than me or if they actually listened to the one podcast. But yep, there were people that were like, "Yep, this is a disease that affects clotting, and they couldn't tell me which clotting factor, but they were like, this affects clotting, and you bleed more with this. And I was like, man, people are on point. So yeah, good for them. They knew more than me. So I kind of want to talk about like specific, if we get to them, I want to talk about 4 specific patient populations within the special challenge population. And the first one being, you don't really think about it like a special challenge, a special population, but the morbidly obese, right? That is a special population, right? We need different tools to take care of them, right? We need different equipment. We need different assessments. You know, we have our own, you know, treatment plans for them and health concerns that they have and safety concerns for providers. Like, do you guys, like, when I think of like the morbidly obese patients, I kind of think back early in my career when I was working city EMS, we had a bariatric rig, and we took care of some very large patients. And extrication was always the hardest thing with these patients. One of them lived on the 3rd floor walk up, and literally you would need the fire department's tower ladder to come in. You'd put the patient in a Stokes basket, put the Stokes basket into the tower ladder bucket, raise it up, and put it into the house that way. That was literally the only way this person ever got in or out of their home. Right? So that's a challenge, right? Now we have to sit there and go, okay, how do we deal with this? So like when you guys are thinking obese patients, right? The morbidly obese, the 500-pound plus patients. Like, is there something that you guys stress over more with those patients? Is it their size? Is it the treatment plans? Is it like their health problems? Like, what do you guys kind of go to?
For me, it's more of like a treatment plan, you know, like, especially like respiratory distress and like failure, you know, their airway is going to be super fucking, it's going to be non-existent. I mean, you know, no neck, overweight, their tongue's probably fucking flopping all over. So it's,
right,
you know,
like intubation's going to be awful.
Yeah, even like the simplest thing is like finding a vein. Like I've done, you know, 24s in the finger, like in the thumb on people, you know, 600 plus.
Yep. I
mean, you know, and I always get fucking eye rolls from a nurse, but I was like, fuck it, I got it, didn't I?
Right.
It's something.
I couldn't tell you how many times, because like when you get that big, right, as an ALS provider, now we're looking at it going, okay, I need access on this patient, right? You roll over their arms and it's just 4 inches of adipose tissue and fat. You don't see anything. You don't feel anything. It's all like there's nothing there. Their legs are even bigger, right? So like lots of times when I'm looking for access on that big of a patient, I go automatically to my secondary sites. Like I'll look hands, arms very briefly, but I automatically go to EJs, upper biceps, chests, like, you know, upper pecs, legs and feet, or drill. And a lot of times you can't even drill them because
it just pops back out.
It just pops back out. I couldn't tell you how many times that's happened where I use, you know, the yellow obese patient needle, which really it's just a large adult needle, you know, and yeah, there's 4 inches of adipose tissue. You can plug and drill as hard as you want. That thing's not sticking, you know? So yeah, I mean, like even at a BLS level, ventilating these patients, right? Ramping them and ventilating them, sitting them up at 30 degrees head elevated to actually ventilate their lungs. That's difficult.
Yep.
You know, like how do we overcome some of these challenges?
More people makes hopefully let her work, but unfortunately, sometimes getting more people doesn't work. You could try to call for more manpower, but sometimes it's just you and the patient.
Yeah, and that's right. Sometimes it's you, your partner, and the patient, and that's what you get, or you and a cop, or you and a family member, right? Until more patients or more, providers get there. I think like with treatment plans, it really gets sketchy. You really have to think outside the box. Like, okay, if this IV doesn't work, what is my secondary plan? What is my, tertiary plan? Like, you have to plan it out that far. Hey, this guy needs to get BVM'd. Okay. How am I going to do that? How is my BLS provider going to be able to do that? Do you guys have a big, concern with crew safety? Because that's like a big thing of mine too, right? Like, I've been on calls where we have stair chaired a 650 pounder up 3 flights of stairs. And I'm like, no, like never doing that again. And there was like 5 or 6 of us. It's like, nope, that was stupid. Never should have done that. There's been plenty of times where, that's it. Like there's been plenty of times where people have tipped over patients, just loading them into the stretcher, loading them into the ambulance. Like crew safety on an obese patient is a big concern.
People get broken. I mean, this is how you end up with bad backs, bad shoulders, bad.
Yeah.
And you don't think about it the day it happens, and then 2-3 weeks down the road, you're sitting in Ortho, New York, going for an MRI.
Right. Well, I know you're joking, but it's so true. It's so serious. Like, again, going back in the Wayback Machine, like there's been times where, we have loaded the patient in a Stokes basket in the hospital and then drove the ambulance and backed it right up to their back deck. So all we had to do was lift it like 6 inches from the stretcher and then just slide them through their house until we could get them, to where they need to go. And then like 18 people lifted up onto the bed or whatever. Like, yeah, it's wild, the things like removing walls. Like, how many times have you seen that in cardiac arrest? Like the hoarder's house with the 800-pounder in the back bedroom and you can't get them out, but you're like, okay, I'm going to secure this unseen. And then 23 minutes out of 25, they get pulses back. And now you're like, well, great. Now where am I going to go? Didn't that happen to you, Phil? Like, I feel like that's happened to you.
I think it has. It has. So, a little bit of a, story time. When I first became a medic, I was going, second due medic. I was in the fly car, and this woman was like easily 800. I mean, she was big, like Mama June big.
Oh man.
And it was, that Bermuda Triangle wedged between the shower and the toilet. And now when I say wedged, I don't mean like, little Mima, curled up in the ball and you got to like slide her out. No, I mean like 7 of us, trying to yank her up, and all the rolls are getting stuck in all these different spots. And the fire department ended up using I'm not a fireman, so don't laugh at me. Their big saw.
the big saw. Not the small saw, the big one.
That thing. And they cut the entire wall of the bathroom. And they're like, oh, just in case. And I look over at the monitor, and sure as shit, it's an organized rhythm.
Yeah, it's like, just imagine like doing, it was brought up in the chat, a couple things. They're making me laugh in the chat here, but vital signs, right? Just taking BLS vital signs, right? How hard is it to feel a pulse on an arm that's the size of my head, right? Or just finding a blood pressure cuff that fits.
When you use the thigh cuff on the forearm, it
Right.
just barely fits. Yeah.
Like, and who even has thigh cuffs nowadays? Shut up, you. Nobody cares.
All right, I see how it is.
Like, but yeah, like it's so difficult in just doing basic things. A blood pressure that we all take for granted is so hard on a bariatric patient, right? A difficulty breathing, obese patient is probably my worst nightmare.
Mhm.
Especially when they're like CHFers and you walk in and they're pale and ashen and they're diaphoretic and like
They're
you
gargling on
you
their
can
own.
yeah, they're gargling and you're just like please don't die. Like
Well, another thing is like the patient compassion. Like I can deal with a lot, but when it's like my 8th time lifting this person up, trying to put them in the rig, I kind of lose my patience.
that's fair.
So, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but like, don't be a dick.
On both sides even.
Like, yeah, don't.
I'm not
sit
trying to
there and-
sound like an asshole, but
Listen.
But I'm gonna be.
So, like, you're sitting there and, you could say to yourself, oh, this fat fuck, blah, 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 fucking Shamu over here, got out of SeaWorld. I have
Sir.
a lot of them in my back pocket,
sir, if you would just eat a salad, this would be so much easier.
Have you ever not gone to McDonald's?
So there's, let's see, where the heck was it? So we were talking about loading and safety issues and stuff, and I have to bring in Blue Lion here. They go, stretcher broken. The company said it was the crew's fault. Half bolt was clean sheared. Now I have a hernia that's like a third testicle.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Damn!
I had a dude one time. If he was 650 pounds, he was an ounce, and we loaded him in the back of an ambulance. I did it by myself because by this point, by the time I got him out to the rig, because he walks slower than a tortoise. He's just
Who walks patients nowadays?
So we got him in the ambulance. I lifted that son of a bitch to the back of the ambulance with myself. This week goes, remind me never to fuck with you. And I was like, just let's go to the hospital now. Yeah. Him and the stretcher just like, ba-doof.
I can't say any obese patients have ever fallen with me, which is like, that would be like, I would literally, my pacemaker would be firing off for like 10 hours after that with all the agita and stress that I would have. Like, it just, yeah, that's the way it would be. So anything else that you guys kind of want to add to the obese patient? Is there things that you guys have found that kind of help you through the bariatric obese patient contact?
Having used to been an obese patient, I could kind of feel feel where they're coming from, but also having been an obese patient, it's not my fault that you're obese. So shut the fuck up and do what I gotta do.
I think a lot of us have that sentiment, in the like, hey, I didn't make you this way, please be like, I'm one of those that like, I respect everybody. You're a human being. I'm here to provide a service. Like, I will treat you like gold. Don't give me that look, you fuck.
Why?
Like,
Yeah,
don't
it's
even give me that
looking
look.
at me, you're looking at him. 'Cause,
However, like, okay, what I
However.
do in private is not how I am in the field at all.
I would hope.
yeah,
you
him.
would.
Butch. But
Me, however.
Remember that time you were unconscious and sleeping? It's a good look on you. You should do it more often. I've turned into the, Mahabuchi version 2 at
which is terrible.
employers.
That's exactly what they were hoping
will-
for.
I have compassion and I have caring for every patient
To a certain point.
until you piss me off.
I'm
See-
sorry. If like a psych patient spits on me, that's it. You know.
Okay, yes, that would set even me off, right?
Like,
So
I'm very patient, but up until a certain point, like I've mostly lost my temper with psychs. I can't say I've lost my temper with the human
I have-
fucking boulder, but
I have compassion for every patient I have until you start getting verbally or borderline physically abusive with me. Then all bets are off, and then game on. You try to
yes,
bite me in the back of an ambulance, then we got a problem.
I have
I
to
detest-
I have to agree with Butch. Like I will treat you like, a king or a queen or whatever until you show me disrespect. Like I am here trying to provide a service to you in what you deemed was your time of need for me to come there. But if you're going to disrespect me, that's when all bets are off. Like,
and I will try to be respectful. Like I literally had some guy one day. I can't remember what the exact call was for, but he was an asshole the entire ride, and I was trying to make it comical, I guess, to try to break the ice with him. I was
Yeah.
trying to be my usual sarcastic self. Like he pretty much told me, go fuck myself and blah blah whatever. So I asked him what his name was. Basic information. Sir, what's your name? I was calling him sir, being respectful. Fuck you, you fucking asshole. I was like, so is that hyphenated? Like I was trying to, make it funny,
nice.
And it got down to the point. I was like, listen, if you don't tell me what your name is, they're not going to treat you at the hospital, and they're going to kick you back out as soon as you get there. I got to the point where I became an asshole,
Right.
and that's when he was trying to like, fine, whatever. And I got the information, but I was trying to be decent with him.
Yep.
But
Yeah, I think like Phil, you were saying, psychs, you lose your cool with psychs a lot, or not a lot, but that's the patient population you lose your cool with. For me, it's drunks. Like, hands down, I could deal with psychs. I could deal with, all that. Drunks. Drunks drive me crazy because it's like, okay, if you can't hold your liquor, that's one thing. That's fine. But don't do it in public. Like, and then don't be a dick when I have to come because you face planted on the bar. Like, don't. Just be humble. Be like, yep, I fucked up. I'll be good. That's it. But they always try and be a dick. Like,
one of my first STEMIs that I ever had in the field was a guy at a bar who was just sitting there and face planted. So we show up, and I was always taught, like, if you have somebody sitting down that passes out, presume cardiac. That's the way I was
Yep.
always taught. So I get in there, I was like doing my thing, and I put the 12 lead on. I'm like, sir, you're having a heart attack. We should go. I'm not going anywhere. And he started just like call me everything but white. I was like, all right, this is how it's going to be. So he ended up going to the hospital and being an asshole the entire ride to the hospital. I was trying to do stuff like, here, do this. I'm not doing this. I was like, all right, you could just die. I don't care. But we're going to the hospital. So, yeah.
yeah, I like the first time in 3 years that I have lost my cool at the place that I work now, with this particular crew that I'm work often with, they're like, wow, I've never seen that come out of you before. Like, yeah, yep. I literally, cause the patient's badgering on and on, about this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, I finally just was like, you could shut up. Like, you could shut up and just not talk. Oh, well, you're nope. You have lost the right to speak to me as an adult. That's it. Just shut up. And like, I literally went into dad mode. Like, as soon as I said it, I was like, man, I feel like I just yelled at my kid. Like, it was so weird. And everyone's just like looking at me like, did he just like dad yell at this patient? Yes, I did. Yep. So going out of the obese population, I will throw it to you guys. I have 3 other patient populations. We're not going to get to all of them, but which one do you want to tackle next? Do you want to talk about the difficult airway patients, those stoma home vent patients? Do you want to talk about the LVAD patient? Or do you want to talk about the MR patient?
Let's toss around an LVAD patient.
I've never dealt with an LVAD patient.
I have.
I have dealt with one. I have no idea if they are still alive or not. But LVAD is an acronym for left ventricular assist device. It literally, pumps your left ventricle for you mechanically. So, if you're in heart failure and are needing a heart transplant, this is what you will get because your left ventricle is completely and utterly useless. So this device will pump that, that fluid around your body for you. And they are amazing machines. Typically, they are short term, right? They're put in from the time that you find out, hey, you have heart failure, debilitating heart failure, you need a transplant, to the time you get your transplant, and that's it. But there's been cases where people have been on LVADs for a couple of years, which is wild. This is so wild, right? So, like, Phil, since you've dealt with the LVAD patient, like, typically, at least in our area, we know if there's an LVAD patient in the district, right? They will call the ambulance company and they'll say, hey, I have an LVAD, just letting you guys know it's at this address. Not everyone does that. The guy that I ended up having was in a district outside of ours. I went in for mutual aid and I just happened to walk in and he's got, the bag. And I'm like, what's the bag? And he's like, oh, it's my heart device. And I'm like, what's its name? And he's like, oh, it's an LVAD. And I'm like,
Where am I going now?
I'm like, crap. So kind of like, what is your experience with an LVAD and, kind of the overall thoughts about dealing with the LVAD patient?
Oh, we lost sound, Phil.
Uh-oh.
Lost sound, Phil.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
There you go.
All right. So I've done 2 interfacilities from a local hospital down to New York City with LVADs, and then I've done 1 911 call, like scene call, for an LVAD. The biggest thing is, like, with the older, 2-year ago models, like, you couldn't get vital signs at all. You would just, you would have to just listen, make sure you hear the tick of the motor, and if they're talking to you, then they're stable. So that's like, muscle memory. You take the monitor out, you put them on, but you put them on the monitor, it just looks like you're sitting there shaking the fucking 12-lead cables up and down.
So it is kind of bizarre with LVADs, like the stuff that, like, you don't get to, like, it's the stuff that's absent in LVAD patients, right? Pulses. You don't feel a pulse with an LVAD patient, right? The impeller pumps that are spitting blood into the system run so fast that it washes out the heartbeat. So you don't feel mechanical pulses. Go ahead.
There is one that you actually do.
Really?
So it's called, this is actually the one where I did my scene call. This is the one she had. It's called the HeartMate 3.
Oh, see,
So,
that's new-ish.
So the motor actually pumps, like, systolically and diastolically.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can actually, it's not the best. Like, you can still kind of feel where, like, the motor kind of like overshoots it, but you can feel a very faint radial pulse. Like you can you'll feel the motor push the blood out and then feel it almost kind of like suck it back.
Huh. That's new because that never was the case. So I guess at this point, like detailed history, what kind do you have?
And those ones actually you can get a blood pressure on, but you can't get like an EKG on.
So that was my next thing is typically LVAD patients, you can't register blood pressures. You can't register, whatever the heck they're called, pulses, right? EKGs are super wonky if you even get them, right? And defibrillation, they say you should not defibrillate LVADs. You can do CPR, but they don't want you defibrillating LVADs just because it can mess with the actual internal equipment. And you mess with that, like if that battery goes dead, they're dead. It's that simple, like that is literally keeping them alive at that point. But you feel like you need to say something. You look like you want to say something.
Like I say, I've never dealt with an LVAD before, but yeah, we were always taught if that battery goes dead, then that patient's just is dead. Don't do the CPR. But it seems like I recently heard that the newer teaching is you can you can do the defibrillation and CPR on the patients, and for some reason I think I've heard that somewhere. I don't know why that's the new teaching now, but I thought I've heard that somewhere. With the newer models, you can do CPR and defibrillations, and
so
if you need to.
The HeartMate, for those of you listening, I did post a photo of the HeartMate 3 in the Discord in the general chat. So with the HeartMate 3, you can do CPR on. They're kind of iffy on you doing defibrillation on it, just because the LVAD's actually, it's connected by a magnet. It's not one solid piece. I might get a little nerdy here, Tarek, because
I love when you get nerdy because it means I don't have to.
So that magnet's connected by an electrical impulse from the motor. So their biggest thing is with defibrillation, when you shock it, it can throw that impulse off and disconnect the magnet from the actual device. So I know that the battery on the HeartMate 3 goes for about 24 hours without being plugged in.
Wow.
But it's recommended that you go no longer than 4 hours without a charged LVAD battery.
Yeah, that is one thing that like I have always been like, grab extra, grab your power cord, grab everything, because a lot of the hospitals, they don't have setups for LVADs, right? They don't have charging stations. They don't have batteries. They don't have any way for this person to deal with if that battery is going low other than plug it into the wall, So like you need and this is stuff for EMS to think about, right? Like you do it with brand new moms. Hey, do you have the baby's bag? Do you have clothes? Do you have food? Do you have whatever, diapers, all that stuff? You need to do the kind of same thing for LVAD patients. Like, hey, do you have your battery? Do you have your bag? Do you have your spare stuff? Like, what hospital do you want to go to? Because like a lot of the hospitals, they'll just outright say, yeah, no, we're not taking an LVAD patient.
So, interestingly enough, I didn't mean to cut you off, Butch.
I don't think he was talking.
So the only hospitals in New York State that can handle an LVAD to the fullest extent is New York Presbyterian and Sloan Kettering Medical Center,
which are both far away from us.
So
doesn't Rochester do LVADs as well? Not anymore? Okay.
So it's when a patient gets discharged home with an LVAD, they'll actually tell them like, you are going to Albany Med for any medical issue, or you're going to, you know, Syracuse for any medical issue that you have. It's not, you know, like they can't piecemeal, you know, like, oh, I'm a little nauseous, I'm going to go to, you know, some podunk 2-bed ER.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, that is one of those things, like, EMS providers need to tell people really quickly, like, hey, I'm coming to this local hospital with an LVAD patient, right? Because they might even be like, nope, don't even come here, right?
Yeah.
I walked into one being an EMT transporting an LVAD patient with my medic, and we just, you know, brought them in. This was the first time that we had ever seen an LVAD patient. And, you know, this was early in their, you know, in their use. And like, yeah, it was, why did you bring this patient here? What are we supposed to do with that? One nurse even was like, what is that? You know, because they had no freaking idea. So, you know, I think, you know, getting the ball rolling a little quicker, you can fly with LVADs. If they're really having a catastrophic problem, maybe it's worth a phone call to the flight team to be like, hey, let's fly them to the medical center that can actually handle this. You know, because most of them will try and go back to the place that they had it put in. But if that's, you know, if they drove down to the city and they live upstate and they're 3 hours away, they're not going to drive back to the city. They're going to call you and want to go to the local ER.
So 2 more things with LVADs before I go on a tangent until midnight.
It's all right.
So-
I'll just cut you off. It's fine.
That's fine. So there's a little controller on it sits like right outside their stomach. It's about, you know, like maybe this big. And it's literally like just a little small tablet. And every couple of seconds it'll cycle through all the LVAD settings. So like you might get, you know, a low flow alarm, you might get, you know, a pressure mismatch alarm. And like that's really all you can go off of for any like medical problems. So the person that I took up to one of the local hospitals around here with the LVAD, they were septic. And the only indicator that they were septic is that their flow rate was 0.3 slower than normal.
Yeah, which all of us would be like, okay, whatever. You know, that's wild.
You also can't overload them. So if you put an IV in them, they can only get 100 ml boluses.
Right, because you can't overload the actual motor and pump.
Right.
The motor goes off of a pressure sensor.
Yeah.
So when you slam them with fluid, it's going to actually stall the motor out until the pressure is relieved. So if you fill them up with too much fluid,
Wild.
so you have, you know, you're sitting there with the dial, you're like,
Just at that point, just do it like a kid. Give them 20 ml boluses in a syringe. Be like, yep, here's 20. Let's suck out another 20. Here's 20. That's, yeah. At that
Just
point.
KVO it in at that point.
Right.
Well, you know,
So from what I'm gaining, what I'm getting out of this entire conversation is we did a episode a while back, Maha's 12 leads for dummies, or Maha's EKGs for dummies. I forget what it exactly was called.
we should do another one soon.
We should do a LVAD for dummies by the Phil Foundation is what I'm hearing here.
I
So
love
he
that.
can really nerd out.
So after I took that, you know, scene call with the LVAD, like I spent days, you know, reading. The agency I worked for did a special CME because of me.
Yep.
like there's so much knowledge that goes into, a little tiny, you know, fucking like blender motor.
Oh, dude, it's like my pacemaker. It
It's
is
insane.
wild how much these things can do that none of us would ever think about.
Yep.
It's insanely wild. So
So
go ahead, Phil. Sorry.
it'll be quick, I promise.
No, I don't care. I
So-
got all night.
The last major thing about LVADs is every patient has an LVAD care coordinator and an LVAD on-call doctor. And they have a special card that they carry. It'll either be attached to that little tablet remote control, or it'll be, like
Somewhere
Velcroed
near them.
on to their LVAD pack. And, most of the time the patient will go through the channels of like calling their on-call LVAD specialist and be like, hey, I'm getting a high pressure alarm on the LVAD. It keeps going off. Like, what do I do? But they're always available for us to call. And I mean, like, they'll break it down like Barney, like stupid person style.
Oh, I love that. I love when there is a phone number to call, like that. Like, I love it for the pacemakers, right? We have the same thing. You call the patient's cardiologist. You're like, hey, I'm medic so-and-so. I'm here with, whoever. They got, this is their number for the cardiac place. And you can ask so many questions about their pacemaker or this, that, the other thing, or device or all that other stuff. It's like, it is just wild what information is at our fingertips that we don't ever utilize because we don't know about it and no one tells us about it. So I'm going to jump down the rabbit hole here, Phil. Maybe you know about this. Maybe you have heard about this. I have never heard about this. Blue Lion, I asked a question on the chat. Any questions from you guys about the LVAD? Just throwing it out there. And Blue Lion says nuclear-powered LVADs. Is that a thing? Have you heard of that?
I don't think that's a thing.
Like, I've never heard of a nuclear-powered LVAD. I've only heard of battery-operated LVADs, but...
Yeah, I think like nuclear powered would, turn you into like a ghoul from the Fallout game series.
I mean, well, that would be so cool, right? Like, so cool. All right. So before we go, like before we end here, we're running long on the podcast end of things, but I want to talk to you guys specifically just really quick about MR patients and communicating with them, right? A lot of times there is a communication barrier, right? I can't say it's a language barrier, but a lot of them cannot communicate effectively to EMS or anybody at that, at that level. How do you guys kind of combat the communication challenge of the MR patient? Like, there's a lot of, we've talked, before about being patient with these, this certain patient population. How do you guys kind of navigate those communication challenges when they're either nonverbal or they kind of speak gibberish or whatever?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
There you go. One of the pet peeves I have with it is sometimes you see providers talking to them like they're like 2-year-old kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Well, obviously, unless they are 2-year-old children, but again, use the people that are around them that know what their nonverbal cues are, or what their language they're speaking are, like parents and providers. They know what they're saying, they know what they're doing, they know what they're acting. They're the ones that are gonna know what's going on. Ask them, what does this mean? What are they saying?
Right.
Use those people.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're out wandering the streets by themselves, you have no idea, then you're gonna have to do what you can, the best you can. But use the people around them. They know what's going on.
And I mean, they're also, if they're nonverbal, I've noticed they are extremely, extremely smart at understanding what you say. like you might have to dumb it down a little bit. Like there's been a lot of times where I've had like the nonverbal MR patient, and I'll just stand there and be like, does this hurt? And like I'll point to my head.
Yep.
And like, does this hurt? Point to my chest. Point to my stomach. Does this hurt? And I mean, like they'll either shake their head yes or no. A lot of them can, write on a whiteboard or like a notepad.
Yeah,
So-
and I think using those nonverbal cues, right? So like if they're nonverbal and they're for whatever reason doesn't matter, using things like that, like hey, does anything hurt? They can understand you. They're just not going to speak to you. So looking for other cues. Are they wincing if you're touching something? Are they, guarding or something of that nature where maybe they're favoring, an area on their body? Having that detailed history from the, what Butch said, that caregiver, paid or family or whoever it might be, that can lead you into a lot of information, right? Finding out if they've been sick, finding out if they've been eating, what they've been eating, all their different habits. It really is piecemealing a lot of information together and making the best judgment out of things,
Another thing is like, yes, you have to dumb down a lot of stuff for patients with MR, but it's not, like you're a total stranger. They're not used to you. They're going to be afraid. They're going to be on edge. They could become violent. But you have to understand it's not their doing. Like that's just how their brain functions.
Right. Yeah. And again, you talked at the open about triggers, right? We don't know what they are. We have to learn kind of how to operate around these people. There's a lot of times where, they just need a ride to the ER and it's like, okay, I'm just going to sit here. I might put some stickers on them, but I'm not going to do anything, right? Unless, absolutely need be. But sometimes it's just a ride, let the hospital deal with, the major issue going on if there's not something you need to, seriously fix in the moment. So let's see. Looking at the chat here before we end, Chris says one of his neighbors are like that, had a bad accident and TBI, and his wife is amazing at telling us exactly what he wants, which is awesome, right? Use those caregivers. Blue Lion says sometimes they can simplify things. We all complicate. Absolutely. Like that is, we overcomplicate a lot of things, right? We dumb it down. They simplify it. It's an easier way of understanding everything. WW2 Girl says, I had a patient that was deaf, had only a whiteboard. My partners and I didn't know any sign language, both frustrating for the patient and the providers. Again, communication's one of those things that we all take for granted. It's easy to just speak and listen. And then when you can't, because, they speak Bangladesh and you speak English, that's frustrating to everybody. When they're mute or they don't have, communication and, maybe they only use a whiteboard. I've done calls where we write back and forth on a whiteboard and that's the only way we communicate. It's hard, but it can be done, Do you guys have anything else sorry to cut you off, Phil. Do you guys have anything else to add for the episode here?
I think I'm good.
Phil, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, about like the deaf patient population. I think, medic school, EMT school should be like basic sign language.
Yeah.
Like learning the sign for, like, I only know very, very few signs in ASL. Like I know like this means doctor or like
so
EMT, paramedic, whatever. Like this means like, I think this means headache. Like I know very like simple things, but
yeah, I 100% agree. I have always said that EMT and paramedic school should also have some and of course, we all say it should be a longer class, right? It should be, an actual education instead of these, whatever classes we have now. But like, we should be putting in there, Spanish. We should be putting in there ASL, maybe medical terminology for both. Even if it's a basic understanding, I think that would go such a long way in being able to communicate with our patient populations. It's crazy that me being 36 years old knows literally nothing about sign language. I couldn't tell you what a P is. I couldn't tell you what an A is. Couldn't tell you anything. My 7-year-old came home from school and could tell you the entire ASL alphabet, right? A to Z, because they practiced it. He doesn't know words, but if he wanted to spell his name, he could literally sign it out, MASON. He could do that. That's awesome. I think we all should have that, in our education. How many times could we have used that, in our careers, I agree. Police departments teach their officers Spanish, so why don't we do that for EMS and fire? Agreed. They should offer those types of classes, and it shouldn't just be like, oh, here's an hour CME on it. It should be a semester-long class. That's just my take on that. Do you guys have anything else to add? No? All right. So we're gonna end the podcast here for tonight. However, if you guys are good with it, give me a yes or a no. I prepared some trivia questions for end of tour. If you guys feel like staying on for another half an hour, I need a refill, so I'm gonna take a 5-minute recess. Thank you all for joining us for another Medic Materials podcast episode. Again, check out the merch page and share the show. Again, it is miraculous that we've gotten up to 20,000 downloads. It is still a small show. We're not Joe Rogan numbers here. However, the fact that, we're giving out such good information, in the silly manner that we do, I love this show. I love the people that we do it with. I love that you guys listen and watch us when we do it. So till next time, guys, stay strong, stay tuned if you're watching End of Tour, and donuts.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you want more information on the podcast or to send us a call review, please visit medicmaterials.com/podcast. To learn more about earning continuing education credit from listening to this episode or others, check out Medic Materials, cmeacademy.thinkific.com. We appreciate your continued dedication towards EMS education and helping us advance the field. See you next time.
All right. Welcome, welcome. End of tour.
Fuck, you scared me.
What, well, I'm sorry I scared you.
Your cronut fell.
I know it fell. I know.
Jesus, give a guy a warning. Fuck.
So I've been working on trying to be able to figure out how to do a warning. And yeah, I don't know how to do it. Like I want something where it's like a countdown that you guys can see. Because yeah, I don't know how to do that for you guys. You know? Every week I'm like, oh man, this is gonna suck. They're gonna be talking about, you know, giant penises or something, and you know, while you're on mute or whatever, and you know, then I come in live and you're like, yeah, I was and whatever, and it's like, yeah, oops.
Derek, I got a question for you.
What?
Yes, sir. You got a question? What's up?
What's a word that you can say but you can't spell?
I could say, but I can't spell.
Yep.
Is it a dirty word? That's fair. Good. Yeah. Woo! You get a Ric Flair on that one.
Oh wait, fuck, were we live? Shit.
Yeah, we were.
It's the end of tour. It's fine. We don't have to be PG.
We don't have to be PG at all. That's the greatest part about our show. That's what with everything that we do, the format that we have adopted, just being our terrible human being selves, seems to work. Nobody gives a flying fuck, and if they do, they don't listen to us and whatever, don't care. It's that
Thank
simple.
God, man. Like, because I have a lot of like raunchy, like dirty fucking jokes. Like,
the fact that we can give CME credit for listening to our show will forever baffle my mind. Like, forever, it will baffle my mind. You think of all the things, like going to all of the, you know, CMEs that you guys have been to. None of them are like us. None of them are like you know,
And then the hooker said, what?
yeah, and then, you know, you roll up on some dead hooker hanging halfway out the fucking car. What are you going to do?
Not even that, like, I could tell you, going back and listening to old episodes is phenomenal because you hear Gerard talking about, like, the prison wallets and all that other shit, and you're just like, yup, that's in a CME. Like, someone listened to that, answered 10, you know, questions, and then got credit for that.
I think my
Explain
favorite.
to me what a prison wallet is.
Well,
Is that
everyone's
the
got
PLS curriculum?
That's definitely core curriculum right there.
Oh, it'll get to your core. Don't worry about it. I still think my favorite Gerard like comment.
Exactly what is tossing a salad? Give me a lot of maple syrup. What?
I think my favorite Gerard comment on any of the episodes, like before I started recording with you guys, was the Patreon with the emulsion blender.
Oh my God.
And you said that, and Gerard's like, holy fuck, she stuck a boat motor in there.
What? Oh, dude. It is not even. It is. That call will forever haunt me. Like, that's not even my call. Just reviewing that and knowing what happened will forever haunt me. Like, who in their fucking minds does that?
Could you think if it wasn't self-inflicted, like, oh, you know, honey, I picked up this toy, you know, the back part of Spencer's at the mall. And then,
Right?
you know, in the panic, like, oh, fuck, I grabbed the wrong one. Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry, I was in Home Goods instead of Spencer's. Like, oops.
I made a.
Come on.
I made a.
We've all
slight
had the
oopsie-daisy.
patient that's, you know, fallen on something. We've all had that patient.
It's just, it's so freaking wild. I'm not calling on you. Just talk.
So, Tarek, when you do your BLS class, I have the perfect toxicology scenario.
Okay. I'm listening. Or
Have
do you
ever-
want to do it in private so we don't
No.
get the cat out of the bag?
No, I mean I believe all of the people listening are already certified providers.
That's probably true.
Have you ever heard of butt chugging?
I can honestly
Yes.
say no.
Okay, so do I have to explain it to you?
I almost want you to.
It's where you put the entire neck of the bottle in your keister and lay on your stomach, and that's how you drink alcohol.
Okay.
So
I've heard of people doing. I didn't know there was a name for it.
So
I've also heard it done where you do like a headstand, and then like somebody does like the funnel,
Yep.
and they pour it in that way as well.
Okay.
Have you ever drank Everclear vodka? The like 99.
Fuck yeah, I have, man.
So the minute
She'll get you fucked.
or you smell it and you're already hammered.
Oh yeah, love
Now,
it.
Put those two together in a 19-year-old college kid who is getting initiated into a frat.
So what you're saying is that
I am not putting any prop near my ass.
Come
for
on,
this class.
come on.
Fine.
Okay. What if you just hold it in your butt cheeks? That's it. You just gotta hold it so that when they walk in the room, you're face down and there's a bottle in your butt crack.
Face down,
Pictures
ass
where it
up.
didn't happen.
Face down, ass up.
Pictures where it didn't happen.
That would be
Hold the
freaking
ankles.
hysterical, right? Oh man, just
All gag in my mouth. Someone grabbing a hold of the man bun.
we would totally be kicked out. Someone would be offended. I know it. No, I like the thought process. I like the idea. I say we do it. We just take a bottle, you take and I'll buy a bottle of Everclear and polish it off by the fall. I might not be coherent, but I'll do it.
You should do it the day of the class.
Listen, you fuckers.
One way to get Turk fired. But I'll tell you, it would be hilarious if we took like brown Play-Doh or something and, took it and put it on the neck of the and then just laid it on the floor.
Melt them like Hershey bar.
There you go. Melted up
They
Hershey bar.
Lick it off. Lick this end of the bottle off, and like put it back up there. Be like, here we go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Now we're getting into the real good stuff. Exactly.
I get to puke it, and that's how you start off an EFT class. There you go. Get him going.
Should come in, stumbling, holding the bottle in your hand, be like, "All right, you fucks."
Right? Oh man, dude, that could be your story. Oh yeah, I was just, drinking with my buddies and I fell and it poked me in the butt.
I'll do it. I'll lose 70 pounds, make myself, wear the skinny jeans, the, this cut off, sweatshirt, hair in a man bun, braid my beard.
We're not gonna be able to do the station. We'll be laughing our asses off.
I know, right? I won't be able to contain myself. It'd be too damn funny.
If that doesn't show goddamn commitment, I don't know what does.
I know, right? I'm just going to give him his CIC now. Here you go. You don't even need to do anything for it. It was funny. I was talking to a couple educators and I was like, yeah, I do this and I do this for, lab and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh man, that's really awesome. Now I have even more ammunition. Next time I talk to him, be like, this is what we added.
I have so many fucked up, stupid bullshit.
I'm telling you, just wait until the next Patreon calls. All right, I'm telling you, there is your mind will blow with the GSW.
Please tell me it's a self-inflicted.
No,
Damn it.
no, it is so wild that it's unbelievable.
Someone tucks the gun in their waistband, blows their fucking family jewels off.
Nope. That would be easily believable. This ungodly unbelievable. Like just wild. Again, plugging
right,
the Patreon. Go be a $5 Patreon donut subscriber. And this month you'll be able to hear the GSW wild and craziness. And next month you'll be able to hear about the bear.
All right,
Freaking
so-
Smokey the Bear.
You're dispatched to South Sudan.
It probably could have taken place somewhere near there. This
Sure.
was a call that was given to me recently. It was sent in. If you have any crazy calls, send them in. info.medicmaterials@gmail.com. I'm always on the lookout for new calls. I'll talk to you about them. We'll brainstorm over them, figure out, what we can and can't say on air, and we'll make great podcast episodes about them.
Please do.
But this was a call that was given to me. It's from the United States, but it is just so unbelievable. Like,
This screams Texas.
Or Florida.
it doesn't have an alligator in it, so it can't be Florida.
Yeah. Florida man shot by flamingo over basket.
Right?
It took his
Like,
hand. You
when
gotta get it back.
When I'm actually able to talk, like I have some good comments.
Yeah, it's amazing when you talk. You should try and do it more often. It's
Get me
only,
going.
it's crazy that the only time that you talk is when Gerard ain't here. It's like he's scared to talk in front of Gerard.
No, it's not that. It's just like I go to say something, and then it's Gerard will start, and he'll just go off on a rant, and then I'm like, by the time it gets back to me, I'm like, I forgot.
So what you're
You gotta
saying
write
is
it-
now,
write it down on that notepad. Like, okay, this is what I was gonna say.
instead of us looking at Gerard, we should all now look at you, is what you're saying. So 5 sets of eyes need to be on Phil all the time now.
It's absolutely insane that the amount of out of my shell I got doing this podcast. Like when I first when I first started working at the agency we all did, Butch.
What?
Is he
Oh,
speaking?
lost-
I know.
speaking. We lost-
He's speaking and he's going like blah, 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 blah. But I can't hear him. He was getting to the good part.
I know.
He
All right,
was
how about now?
now
There
you're
you go.
good. There you go.
His Discord
So-
keeps kicking his mic off. He's
I
gotta
know,
fix
it's
that.
crazy.
So the agency we all used to work at, Butch was my FTO. And Butch taught me how to be a competent, actual real paramedic from where I came
Stop.
from
Stop.
before there. I was working commercial ambulance agency,
Slow
mostly
clap. Slow
transports
clap.
and shit shows by myself. And Butch actually, hammered it in. And I credit, not to, make this a sob story, but I do credit the provider I am today because of Butch. Not to
Did
make
you
it
keep sucking up. He's feeling good about himself right now.
Jesus Christ, you're gonna make me into tears over here.
So when I first started, I spoke 4 words for the first month. And then that's when I met you at the local trauma center. And I was like, hey, I'm a fan of your show. And you're like, okay.
Hey, it wasn't okay. It was thanks. Cool.
I'm
and
sorry.
that
it was-
might have been it.
Thanks.
What were my first words to you, Phil?
Do you get easily offended? No. Good, because I don't give a fuck. I'm Butch, by the way.
There you go.
So okay. When did you actually start listening to the show?
When I was in paramedic school.
Like, how the hell did you find it?
Kelsey.
It was Kelsey's
Oh.
fault.
She had posted something on Facebook or something like that where I had seen it and I'm like, oh, I'll check it out when I have the free time. And I was driving back from medic school, from class, and I had ran out of skips on Spotify for like actual music.
So he was forced to listen to us, is what
No,
he's
no, I was
about
like,
to
"You know
say.
what?" Like,
Wow.
perfect time. I'll give the podcast a listen because, like, I would go home and do stuff like that and, like, not really have access to podcasts or whatever. So I listened to it, and it was the very first episode.
Oh, that's an awful episode. Shouldn't have
Episode
listened to
one.
that one.
And I was like, oh, it sounds like, a good podcast. And then I think it got to, like, one of the really, like, fucked up free episodes. And I was like, I fucking love this show. I got to get on there somehow.
And look at you now.
I know.
It's
I think-
it's. Go
I
ahead,
think
Butch.
my first episode was the one where you talked about when you had your pacemaker in and you
Yep.
cut your hand with you were splitting wood or something. You thought you fucking hacked your finger off.
Oh yes, when I
you're
freaking
like-
broke my finger.
You thought you cut your finger off, and you mentioned me in the podcast.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
was the first one I heard. I think because G had said, "Hey, yeah, he mentioned you in the podcast." So
I don't.
That's why I
I
started
literally just listened to that one, and I have no recollection of why I mentioned you whatsoever.
you thought you cut your finger off, and he was like, "Oh,
Oh,
God,
that's
no."
right. Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's right. I was making the bad joke about the finger. I remember that now. Such a dick. I'm sorry.
So that was the first. That's the first one I went back to, and I was like, "Okay." So that's why as I started listening to you guys, I went back to all the way to the beginning and came all the way back up. I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, it was like it's been so wild. Like there's been people, we've had a lot of different people on the show and stuff, and it's crazy to think that like Phil and I had no idea who each other were before this show. Kelsey, introduced the thought of Phil because I didn't even meet you until that day in the ER. And then I was, myself and Mask, and, so all you saw was this, because of course I have a hat on, and you get eyeglasses and eyebrows, and
It was one of those, like, steampunk, like, with the spikes on the nose strip, or, like, the studs on the nose strip, and, like,
I was wearing my Punisher mask.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was my Punisher mask that, I used to wear during COVID. So
That and the angry eyebrows, I was like, holy fuck, this guy's gonna, like, chase my ambulance down, skin me alive, because I talked to him.
no, absolutely not. Like, I love how people talk to, like, the one thing that touches me,
Your left hand.
Rosie Palm and her 5 sisters.
Oh, there you go. No, like, I'll steal one from Kelsey here. The one thing that truly, makes my heart happy about doing this show is getting messages from people being like, I listened to you. I found you in medic school. Like, you guys helped me through medic school. You guys are awesome. Like, it's just fun and entertaining listening to the ridiculousness that you guys are. Like, that is so rewarding. That it makes this, like, it makes me want to keep doing the show. Like, we could be doing it for 8 people per episode. Wouldn't care. I would still keep doing it. It's been wild. But yeah, it was your interaction was interesting because we had met at the hospital and then we met at the agency. You were coming in as my relief at some point in time, and
Yeah.
I was doing the same thing. I'd be like, "Hey, Phil," and then I'd walk away, and that's what you got.
Yeah, and I texted Kelsey one day. I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm ever getting on the podcast. I think Turek hates me. And her response, verbatim, and I quote, was, "It's okay. He hates everybody." So, and then like 2 weeks later, I get a text from you, and you're like, "Hey, like, I heard you want to be on the podcast."
Yep.
I was like a crackhead going back to his favorite dealer for the first time out of rehab. I was like, "Holy fuck! Finally!"
And we brought you in. Your first episode was the MCI episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Me and Gerard and you and Kelly, I think, was on that episode. Shout out to our clinical coordinator, Kelly. That was your first episode. And then after that episode, when I was reading all those fucking text messages, which God, I wish I recorded. But we were all in stitches. All three of us were in stitches. And Gerard just looks at me after that, and he's like, we were talking, like, I texted him because he was out of studio that day when we were recording in the bunker. And he's like,
said to me, it's like, hey, I'm downstairs. And I walk downstairs, and it's just a table.
Yep.
And like one light. I'm like, oh, so it's a red room, is what you're saying. It's not an actual podcast. I'm just gonna get murdered for people's entertainment.
That room was so awesome. I miss it so much. You have no idea how much I miss the bunker.
It was perfect. Like, I had no cell service, so even if I tried to call for help, I would have gotten nothing.
Just a round table and
And there were blankets all around. So the muffle the sound of him screaming.
I was waiting to like walk into like an eyes wide shut party. After I saw all the blankets hanging up, I was like, uh-oh.
But yeah, it like I had texted Gerardo and I was like, dude, what do you think of Phil? And he literally was like, dude, phenomenal. Like, absolutely phenomenal. He hit every joke. He was on point. Like, it was great.
I only made one actual comedic joke that night.
Dude, you were hilarious that night.
It was, we were talking about, the Joe Schmoes who come up to us like, oh, what's the worst thing you've seen? And all I said was, my paycheck. And everyone lost their fucking mind.
It's because it was funny. Like, it was gold. You solidified your spot on the show. Being a guest at that point, you were a Patreon subscriber at that point, and look at you now, a full-fledged member of the show. Like, you worked your way from the mailroom on up. Look at that.
There you go.
It's the Cinderella Phil story. We should make a Netflix documentary about it.
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't want, Terry Crews playing me in a Netflix documentary.
I don't know. Who do you think they'd get to, play my eyebrows? Like when we first meet, thanks. Who has the eyebrows that I have? Just resting angry eyebrow face.
I think it would be funny if they had like Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, dude, that'd be fucking phenomenal.
Like, hey, man, I really like your show. Motherfucker, thank you.
Thanks, motherfucker.
That'd be awesome. I would so promote that. It wouldn't even be funny. So, Mr. Mahabuchi, I have a question for you.
Sure. Okay, what's the question?
Do you have any random shit for today, or should I just go right into trivia?
Oh, I got some random shit.
All right. Mr. Maha's got some random shit, so let me play his intro. So tell me your random shit.
So I had a funny thing happen to me a couple weeks ago. My partner and I were heading to do a transport, and as we're coming up, it was a 2-lane highway, and somebody decided that it'd be a good idea to tailgate me in the ambulance. So I said, I'll just get over the other lane and let him go by me. This gentleman proceeded to come alongside the ambulance and try to run us off the road.
No way.
Oh yeah. Well, at first he came alongside of us. I'm driving along and he came over into our lane. And I was like, what's this asshole doing? And he kept going. And he got in front of us and cut us off and started brake checking us. I'm like, the hell is this asshole doing? So after he stopped, I went around him. And then he went back around behind us and did it again. The second time, I was like, this guy's deliberately trying to get us to stop, run off the road. So my partner gets on the phone, calls the cops, and says, "Hey, this guy's ran us off the road twice." And the cops like, "Well, if you feel comfortable and feel safe enough, try to follow him, see where he goes, and just don't get too close." Next intersection was red light, so the guy stops in front of us, gets out of his car, and starts punching on the window of my driver's side window,
Oh,
trying to get us to
shit.
come out, calling us tough guys. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting out. What are you, stupid? Like, yeah, I'm not gonna get. So we did follow him. Eventually, the local law enforcement that patrol that area, might be state police, might be state park police, might be local city PD, all found this guy. And long story short, they didn't charge him because the local PD said, "Well, we didn't see him do it, so we can't charge him with anything."
Which is crazy
but
because, like, you hear all the domestic stories where it's like, oh, yeah, he beat me. They didn't see them beat her, but the guy goes to jail. So it's like, it's such bullshit, that excuse. Like, it really is.
And apparently, this guy was not in a rush to go anywhere, or he just figured that today was the day he wanted to beat on the side of an ambulance, apparently, and figured, he didn't think he was in the wrong or anything that day, so he just
Wow.
felt like an asshole that day.
I can't say I've ever had that happen.
And I just told the cop, I said, on a different day, different time, may have ended differently, but yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
That was my day a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds festive. Can't say, like, I've had patients be wild, but never like people outside of my ambulance try and kill me.
Yeah.
Like that'd be wild.
I mean, you hear the stories in the news all the time,
Right.
like people just, there was an incident in Texas where the cheerleader parked alongside another car and the guy just shot her because he parked alongside of a car. Was that in
Yep.
Texas a couple months
Yeah.
ago? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
up here in New York State, where the girl pulled in the guy's driveway and backed out, and he shot her. Just
Oh,
pulling the
dude, that
trailer.
was, yeah. And then the freaking trooper, like 2 days ago,
Yeah.
right? Like that one freaking
It was
unreal.
like a basic traffic stop, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Just for
why
speeding or
why do you
something?
think you're safe hopping out of your vehicle trying to get somebody to fight you? I mean,
Yep. Nope.
he's gonna do the wrong person someday, and he's just gonna be dead.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about that freaking shit going on in Ohio with
Yeah.
with that dude? Oh my God.
He shot his whole family execution style.
Like,
or something like that.
holy fudge. Yeah. Like, if he don't get the book,
What is that?
I hope he gets 10 books.
Oh, the
You
guy
didn't-
with his kids there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the dude in Ohio who shot his 3 kids. Holy freaking, and what sickens me even more is, like, one of the kids ran away. Like, ran away into a field. Dad chased him down, dragged him back just to shoot him. Like,
So there's a special population
freaking
for you.
wild.
What are you doing as a first responder to show up on that scene?
I will say I will be the first one to admit I watched the body cam footage. And I cannot even fathom the amount of calm that the first 2 officers had with this guy. I don't think I would have been a good enough human being to be that calm like they did. But yeah, I mean, like, like, that is a scene where I hope I don't ever have to be on. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
You know, like, it's freaking wild. Just wild.
I don't know. Like, I definitely wouldn't be able to keep that, professional,
Dude, it was funny. There was one cop, like the first 2 cops, they take him down, they handcuff him, they get him into custody. They're talking to him. They're being super chill, super calm. Like, it was wild how calm they were. Then they hand him off to another cop, and that cop goes and puts him into the vehicle. and you know he's asking for something or this, that, the other thing, and that cop, he was more like me. He was like, you have the right to remain silent. Shut the fuck up. Like, use it. Like, he would need no part of that. Like, not a lot, you know. He was a lot less professional with the guy than the first two. But yeah, freaking wild. But I'm gonna transition. We got some. So I had some inspiration. Okay, a little context, a little backstory for trivia today. I had some.
Was it Titanic? Was it Titanic? You know, when you go down looking for Titanic and you run out of oxygen. What, is that too soon? No.
Nope.
God damn
Nope.
it.
Nope. So my kids are awesome. As both of you guys have met my boys, they're freaking awesome. So for my birthday, like, they love Lego. I think you guys have both been in my old house. You've seen how much Lego they actually have, right? So they got me, which I thought was really freaking cool. For my birthday, they got me a Lego Mandalorian mask,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
which is freaking badass. And we built it together, which was awesome.
Nice.
So then for Father's Day, they got me something that's in the works of being built. We haven't finished it yet. I literally just opened it this afternoon.
Please tell me it's like a Darth Vader.
Oh no, it's better. This is something that I have wanted for like 3 years and never have spent the money on because it's been so damn expensive. And these boys and my wife are the best human beings ever. They got me, and this is what inspired the trivia today. They got me a Lego Mjolnir.
Oh.
Right? So Thor's hammer, this thing weighs so freaking much. It's unbelievable. And it's huge. Like, it's huge. Porn stars would have trouble with this. Like,
Don't slip and fall in the shower.
don't slip and fall in the shower. It's supposed to be like 11 and a half inches at the bottom and then like 18 and a half inches tall. Like,
Giggity.
it's huge. So, because I got Mjolnir and I was building it, I said, oh no, and I broke it. Let's do trivia night that revolves around Norse mythology.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do Marvel. Come on.
yeah.
Nope. So we're going Norse mythology.
I am a huge mythology fan, Turek.
Dude,
I mean,
so
Greek,
So
Greek mythology, I probably was pretty good at, but I don't know about Norse.
so
Yeah, look at
I went to a huge high school, and in your senior year you could take like English 12, right? Or you could take elective Englishes. You could take creative writing, you could take journalism, you could take all these different English classes if you didn't want to just take English 12. And they had a mythology class. First semester was Greek and Roman. Second semester was Norse and Celtic. And it was by far the coolest class that I ever took in all of my like K through 12 years of being in school. It was so awesome. So yeah, I'm with you. I love mythology. I wish it would come back.
Yes.
I
love
have it.
mythology, too.
I love it so much. I have a Norse mythology tattoo on my arm that I look at every morning.
Yeah. That's like my giant flag on my arm. It's like, yep, I love it so much that I look at it all the time. It's almost like I was looking at it the other day and I was like, man, it's starting to fade really good. I should probably get it, shaded in again. But, oh, that's nice. Oh, I like the shield. I've never seen the shield.
Yeah, so this was my second.
Sweet.
This was the Hold on. My fucking camera.
Turn off the pig.
All right, hold on.
Wait, everybody, to see his glory hole.
That's all right.
There it is.
Ooh, there's the glory hole.
Oh, they can't see it on the damn camera.
You want me to take the camera for a little field trip?
No. I definitely don't want that.
So this was my first one.
Okay, move it over because I can see it, but they can't see. Nope, move over to your left. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Right there. Stop.
So this is my
Beautiful.
first one. I got it, for my mom, my grandmothers, stuff like that.
That's freaking Billy B.A.
This was my second one.
I think I like that one the most so far. No showing me your butt.
This is my third.
Yeah, see, that was pretty cool too.
And then this is the new one that you think looks like you.
I mean, it is me. It's not. It doesn't look like me. It is me.
Oh wait, so wait, you say I inspired you to be the better paramedic, and you get him tattooed on your arm. See?
Oh!
Wow. You don't have a same Butch tattoo, but you have a same.
I will get, if you think I am not stupid enough to get your face tattooed on my body, you cannot be farther from wrong.
All right. With that,
Right where a tramp stamp goes.
right where the tramp stamp goes. Gotta love it. Okay. All right, here we go, gentlemen. Let's see how well we do on Norse mythology trivia night. Number 1. Which day of the week is derived from the name of the Norse god of thunder?
Thursday.
Don't forget, add your answers to the chat.
I have to go with Thursday too. Sounds
Everyone else, Chris, WW2 Girl, are all agreeing with Thursday. Thursday is correct. 100% correct. Remember, Thor is the god of thunder, so it originally came out as Thor's Day, which got turned into Thursday. All right, number 2. In Norse mythology, where do the souls of heroes killed in battle go?
Do you want me to give you a second, Butch?
Oh, he needs time to process. People in the chat need time to process. They're all Googling. Their thumbs are moving fast.
Valhalla.
Yes. God damn it.
He's like, I know that one.
I did the Valhalla project.
Simplified by the circle inside the circle on my arm.
What are you fucking doing?
What's the circle on your butt? All right. Valhalla.
That's where the tasty treats go.
I have to give Phil another one. Valhalla is correct.
Who the fuck invited him?
I know, right?
Him and his
Apparently,
man
Gerard.
Yeah, right? Gerard invited him. All
bun. Him
right.
and his bun.
Number 3. The Valkyries are the 9 handmaidens of whom? Phil's already looking at Butch going, I know the answer, Butch. Spit it out. I must say that I don't exactly know what Blue Lion is talking about. Huh? I am so confused as to what Blue Lion is talking about in the chat. Yes, and what happens when they get charges. Can take the written. I hope you're texting somebody else.
Is it Odin?
All right, Butch said Odin. I didn't hear what Phil said, but Butch is correct with Odin.
No,
Phil
no,
said
I
Odin
said
too.
Odin.
He did. Your mic cut out. We couldn't hear you, Phil. Sorry.
Bullshit.
I heard him completely fine.
Me, you disrespect the man bun. You disrespect the pigs in the background. How could you? On this, the day of my first daughter's wedding. It's a Ginzo joke. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Hey, leave the gun, take the cannoli.
All right. Well, I gave you guys this one. Let's see if you guys remember it. This one's easy. I mean, they've all been easy for Phil.
Hear more.
What was the name of Thor's mythical hammer? It's right here. It's getting built. Boom. It's so pretty. I love this thing. Eventually, it's going to sit right behind the desk, right behind my chair, so it could be in every stream.
That's awfully phallic of you.
Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is.
Every time you start the recording, you got to go over and give it a kiss on the tip.
I should like whack stuff with it during the stream. Like if they do something stupid, like be like, "Ah!" and just hit shit with it.
Break it.
I don't know, dude. It's pretty freaking hefty, and it's made out of Technic. Like, it's solid.
How much does it weigh when it's completely built? Say?
I will find out.
Turek's one forearm is going to be the size of my thigh. Just from holding it constantly.
Let's see. Does it say?
What about the one he swings the hammer in? Ah.
It's like when Quagmire discovers internet porn for the first time.
That's right.
Giggity.
Hey, Peter, just been watching some of that internet porn.
So Chris says Mjolnir. I believe Butch said Mjolnir. I don't know what Phil said. He might have said Mjolnir, but I'm going to say they're all correct.
Correct!
Phil's mic cut out again.
We love you, Phil. It's okay.
I know.
All right.
One of these days, you're all gonna fuck with me and just not speak to me the entire stream. You're like, well, guess I'm hated.
No, we would never do that. All right, number 5. In Norse mythology, where is the home of the gods? Reached by crossing the Rainbow Bridge.
Asgard.
Yep.
We've all seen that movie. I'm going to say Asgard is 100% correct. Man, I should have led the stream with these. You guys are doing dope tonight. The chat's doing dope tonight. Next week, I'll have to go back to, generalized bullshit trivia that nobody knows.
Civil War trivia.
Oh, dude. Bingo! That's next episode. I'll do it. Civil War trivia. Done. It's already been decided.
I just want you to know I'm a very closeted history and mythology nerd.
No.
World War II trivia.
I could make a month on history.
You should
Just do each war. There you go. It'd be great.
There you go.
All right. Number 6. Norse mythology's Asgard was home of the gods. What's Midgard?
Home of man.
No guess.
No guess. Butch throwing in the towel. I got nothing. The chat has been silent. Chris is throwing out home of man.
You're welcome for the answer, Chris.
He had to use his GPS to find that one.
No, I go this way sometimes. No, the sun got in my eyes. The man was a quarter mile down the road.
All right, we have home of man. I don't knows. Chris is throwing out. I was typing as you said it, Phil. I'm going to accept home of man, even though the real answer is Earth, but I'll respond to both. So, correct!
No, called it home of man in mythology.
I'm just saying.
Is it? Is
No,
Earth
it is.
or-
It is. It's
Earth.
home of man, and then now we call it Earth. So that's why I gave them both. I'm not gonna cherry pick on that one.
I was gonna say, how like legit do you want these answers?
I don't know how legit can you make these answers, Phil.
I'll start speaking in pagan, but I might summon Cthulhu into my bedroom.
Hey, maybe they'll come through your glory hole. It'll be great.
Hey, you might just see like a tentacle wrap around like my
Just
face and yank me backwards.
Just get it all on video. All right, you could sell a lot of pornos that way.
I could.
All right, this one again, super easy. Phil, shut up.
Okay.
What is the name of the end of the world of gods and humans? The name of the end of the world of gods and humans.
Armageddon.
Can I answer?
Not yet.
Okay.
We know you know, Mr. Hairbun.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the chat to give me the right answer before Phil so I could say you're wrong.
All right.
Come on, chat. Prove me wrong here. Prove me right. Whatever. I don't care. It's
In about
late.
15
I'm starting to
seconds.
mess up my words.
In about 15 seconds, all of their answers should be disqualified because they're definitely fucking Googling it.
That's fine. I'm taking it.
All right.
Now I'm getting impatient. It's all silence. All right, Phil, I guess it's up to you to save the day.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Correct. Is correct, 100%. That is a really good song from Gwar. If anybody wants to, go and find it, really good song. All right, here we go. Number 8. In Norse mythology, who was Odin's wife?
Fuck.
He had a couple of them.
Is this one that you don't know?
Oh, no, I knew it. I can't remember her name.
Chris is being awesome. Chris says looking it up failed.
Fuck me, dude. Shit.
Oh, I have stumped the man. I
Can I
feel
guess?
so excited right now.
Can I guess?
You can guess. I don't care.
Well, it was Frigg, right?
Chris says Frigg. You
That was-
say Frigg.
Fuck.
I'm going to say you're partly correct, but
Wrong.
mostly wrong.
Shit.
It is Frigg. Frigga.
Oh, that's close enough.
No, it's not. Not
I
in
was
my
missing
game.
A. It was an A.
It's like he's calling you Fuh instead of Phil. It's close enough. Hi, Fuh.
Fuck. I still count that as a right answer.
You can. Whatever you need to go to bed tonight. There you go. All
Close
right.
enough, But
Number 9. We're getting close. According to Norse legend, what animals pulled Thor's chariot across the sky? Diving deep in the well on this one. Chris, nobody likes you. Just stop talking.
Question again?
According to Norse legend, what animals pulled Thor's chariot across the sky? WW2 Girl is going with the obvious answer of horses.
Wasn't it? They were rams, right?
Rams is close.
Do you want the actual name? Because I'm gonna fucking butcher it.
No. I don't need the actual names of. It's like who's this sphere and what's its fuck.
Oh wait,
I
No,
just
it
want to
wasn't.
know the. I just want to know the animal.
it wasn't rams. It was goats.
So rams I'm not taking, but goats I will take. It was 2 goats.
Correct!
Again, I would butcher the names too.
It wasn't it like Transagir?
Chris is throwing in Tangringsneer. Who the fuck knows? I don't know.
They were. It was
I
one
don't
male, and one female.
So I'm pretty sure that if you watch the last Thor movie, they were in it. Pulling the boat. Even like it wasn't a chariot, it was a boat that they pulled. But I'm pretty sure they had goats in it as like an homage to the story.
I'm gonna look it up to see how to pronounce it.
Number 10.
Oh, well, I guess not.
You can do it after. It's fine.
Okay.
Number 10. What is the Bifrost? I'm really appreciating Blue Lion right now because he's sitting there answering, like, I don't know, Blue Lion could be a he, she, I don't know, but they are literally going through answering all of the questions.
It was the Rainbow Bridge. It connected Asgard and Midgard, right?
I don't know. You tell me, Phil of all knowledge.
You're fucking with me right now. If I don't get every single answer perfect,
I'm gonna hate myself and I'm gonna have to get these tattoos removed.
I'm gonna jump out my window.
I don't think any of us would do it, but we should have a tattoo challenge. Like, we should figure it out.
I will get, if you give me $5 and a fucking Milky Way bar, I will get anything that you tell me to tattooed on my body.
Yeah, see, that's problematic. You shouldn't do that with us on this show.
Like,
No, I will have you fucking putting some shit on your body. What
Like-
would you do for a Klondike bar? Oh,
that
I'll
is
fucking
that is not okay.
I will get Gerard absolutely shit-faced, bring him with me to my tattoo appointment, and say, all right, this guy gets to pick what I get.
See, I think Gerard should be your tattoo. I think you should get Gerard tattooed somewhere on your body.
You think I won't?
I know you would. That's the
I'll get
funniest
picture.
thing.
No, I'll get the picture of him with the aviators on, standing next to the plane, tattooed on me, like right on my chest, like portrait style.
Wait, he gets a chest?
I know,
get the
and you
fucking-
get
Wow.
bupkis. You get nothing, Butch. See, he sent all this homage stuff. Oh, he's the
know what?
best. You
When
get
I retire,
bupkis.
I get the tramp stamp spot. Fucking
When I
he gets the
retire,
chest.
I'll get Maha Butchie tattooed on my forehead. Because I'm pretty sure someone with a face tattoo is a pretty hard job prospect.
It might be.
I don't think the flight agency your wife works at would appreciate that much.
Nope, not at all. So, Chris has the right answer. What is the Bifrost? I don't remember what Phil said, but Chris said the Rainbow Bridge, so I'm giving him credit. 100% correct.
You're just pissing that little Italian man off right now.
Oh, hey, oh. It's not little, it's vertically challenged. Disrespect me in my house.
Oh, man. I hate when this happens. God damn it. There we go. That only took forever. I don't know, Phil.
I say it was a perfect run because someone here didn't accept an answer with an A at the end of it.
So Chris is saying that I'm wrong, that the internet says frig. I saw the same internet say frig. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to admit that I'm wrong. I'm just going to let Phil tell me I'm wrong, and then I'm going to not care. So...
No, so Here, I looked it up after you said I was wrong.
Yeah, of course you did.
So
Can't live with yourself.
Frigg was Odin's official wife, but it has been determined that she's an exact duplication of Freya, making them one and the same. So they probably just merged the names together.
Probably. So see, you were half right.
I still consider it a perfect 10 out of 10.
Of course you would. It's okay. You can continue to feel that way.
Not
So
getting this removed anytime soon.
So I'm thinking, it's like the one and only problem to this is I think that somehow we should make it that other people do trivia other than just me. I don't know how we would get the graphics and stuff without me being in on it. But we should figure that out. We should, try and solve that problem. I think it'd be fun. Because I never get to answer any of these questions. I just already know the answers and get to tell Phil he's wrong.
I'll do trivia next time we do a live stream.
See that? How are we gonna get it into? How are we gonna get it into the stream though?
I can send you.
But that's it. I already know.
Shit, you're right.
You know.
So what if I send you the questions only?
But you can look them up.
I wouldn't look them up. That's the thing. But you could send them to me like at 8:00 right before the stream, because then I don't even have time to think about them. I'm too damn busy trying to get shit together. But so I'm going to ask one thing. Let me do the Civil War trivia just because I really want to now. And then you can do whatever the next one is. So next stream I'll do, the stream after you can do.
I'll see how much mythology you really know, Tarek.
I don't know anything. It's been like 15 freaking years since I've taken a mythology course. I know what I know, and that's it. You ask me about like comic book theory and stuff like that, I'm your guy. You ask me nonsense, history nonsense, I'm your guy.
Fuck it. Egyptian mythology.
There was a guy with a cat face. There was a guy with an owl face. There was a guy with a jackal face. Couldn't tell you what their names are.
They made furries popular before the 2010s.
Yes. So I just watched Moon Knight. And I will have to say that they did a pretty darn good, darn well done of the Moon Knight series. Like, it was only 6 episodes. I don't know if they're going to do another one or not. I'm in episode 5 right now. So I haven't even finished it yet, but it's been really good. I've enjoyed watching it. Especially only knowing bits and pieces of the comic, knowing he's got dissociative identity disorder and knowing certain things. Because they only really play up on 3 of his characters, and I think he's got 5 or 7. Yep. But again, you play on 5 or 7 in a 6-episode series. That would be really hard for people to follow. So I get why they cut it down, but it's been really good. I don't know who the guy is that is playing him, but he's doing a very well done job. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it afterwards. But that's all got Egyptian mythology in it, Mr. Phil. I know stuff. As he's Googling shit and not even listening to me. It's fine. It's fine. I'll just end the show, Phil. It's cool. We don't need you to talk anymore. It's good. Oh my God. Is it really, Chris? Are you freaking kidding? No freaking way. I am awful. I will be the first to admit I don't know any celebrities. My wife sits there and is like, oh, it's this person. And it's from this movie. And I'm like, I just look at her and she's like, okay, I'll stop talking. Just Google it. Because I don't know who played in what. I don't know their name. I don't know anything. Chris just threw out that the guy who played Moon Knight was the dweeb who played Poe in the new Star Wars. And we can't hear you again, Phil. That makes me now hate his guts. Like, Can
you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Mr. Verizon. So yeah, like that just makes me hate his guts because those movies were so bad. I think they were worse than Rocky V and should never exist. Like they should be eradicated from the face of the earth. That makes me bitter. But it's all right. We're ending, so I'll just go to bed angry. So, guys, anything else to say?
Think I'm good over here.
Yeah. It's been real. It's been fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here on this Tuesday. Let's see. What is the next day that we should be recording? Let me pull up my calendar here. We're supposed to be on the 16th. So we will see you guys on the 30th of the month. I'm still trying to get with we were supposed to meet with an organization that was really, really awesome. That did a lot of work with veterans and first responders mental health, and they've had to cancel like multiple times now. So again, like it's been hard to get involved with them, but I'm still trying to get them on the show. But again, I'm going to plug Patreon. $5 a month, guys. That's not a lot. That's one coffee from Starbucks. $5 a month gets you the most ridiculous calls and even more education explanation on Patreon. They come out the 23rd of every month, and they are private only to the Patreon subscribers. So again, if you want to hear about that Texas gunshot or the upcoming bear call, go there. Or the emulsion blender. Or, hey, the 15-inch pink dildo was on there as well. We forgot about that one.
Or the mahogany dining table.
Or the mahogany dining table, or the, crazy oil tanker. Like, it is just wild what is on Patreon. So check it out. Link is in the description, or it is Medic Materials at Patreon. Guys, thank you again for joining us here on this Tuesday. Stay safe and donuts.